definitely a lot of emotions and thoughts that flow through my mind. I think that everything for me is so fresh that I don't know what I need and what I'm going to do. I didn't know how I was going to get through this year, and so I first thank God because I was just telling Mr. Ed, like, I went through a lot internally. A lot of what I went through, I relied on my dad for, but I know that when the time comes and the opportunity is right for me to make those decisions, obviously I've always had a home in Indy, so it could potentially be a home for me again, but I think it's specifically for me, I gotta be selfish about that process. And when I know, you'll know, so.
The Fever's got a problem. Kelsey Mitchell might be on her way out, but they've also got a solution, a Supermax deal worth $241,000. Will it be enough to keep her? And what about the Caitlin Clark factor? We're about to dive into all the possibilities. So Kelsey Mitchell just dropped a bombshell on Instagram. She's talking about shedding tears and dying on her own sword.
But I think the personal goals is figure out how I can be better as a player, figure out what I need to do to help a team, whatever team that is, and then from there, be the best I can be. And not having that voice, not having that sense of connection, physically, indoor, psychologically, mentally, etc. That was tough, and so I had a village of other 11 ladies. I think we were playing New York. It was playing New York. It was an ESPN game. I'd never seen that many people in the field house in my life. So I would say that was my most memorable moment because that was an early New York game. But it was definitely a paramount year for me on so many different levels. So I was grateful for the year.
What's that all about? It's like she's preparing us for something big and fans are freaking out. Imagine this. The Fever just made the playoffs for the first time in years, and now their star player might be leaving. That's insane. Mitchell's been with the team since 2018, and she's a huge part of their success. If she goes, it could mess up everything they've built. But here's where it gets tricky. The Fever's got a plan, and it involves some serious cash. Plus, there's the Caitlin Clark factor we can't ignore.
We err on the side of professionalism in a lot of different ways, and we can only control what's in our organization, within our people. And that, me personally, we don't condone those kind of things. No. I would say my most memorable moment was my first time seeing the amount of fans. I don't know if it was like this is crazy moment. I think for me what's most glaring is, for one, the amount of eyes that was gained through this process, for seeing us play and seeing us represent what is the game.
You know what's crazier than Mitchell leaving? How these two things might change everything. Let's talk about it. Think $241,000 is a lot for a year of basketball? Wait till you hear why it might not be enough. The Fever are playing a high-stakes game, and Mitchell's not the only piece on the board. What if this deal is just the opening move in a much bigger strategy? Let's break down this Supermax offer, $241,000 for 1 year. That's some serious cash, right? But in the world of professional sports, it might not be as mind-blowing as you think, especially when you're talking about keeping a star player like Kelsey Mitchell. Now, why is this deal so crucial for the Fever? Remember, they just made the playoffs for the first time since 2016. That's a long drought, and they're finally building some momentum.
He's away, and we'll be locked in the whole way through. Here are the first-round matchups: Liberty versus the Dream, Lynx versus the Mercury, Sun Fever, and the 4-5 matchup, the Aces versus the Storm. But how about the Fever?
I feel like it's a great accomplishment, but there's so much more left to be done. Yeah, we made the playoffs. There's 6 regular season games.
Yeah, they're a very dangerous team coming into this postseason. They always tell you that the team that you want to watch out for are the teams that get hot at the right time.
Losing Mitchell now could be like hitting the reset button on all that progress. But here's where it gets interesting. GM Lynn Dunn isn't just throwing money around for fun. She's got her eyes on the prize, championships. And she's betting big that Mitchell can help deliver them. The pressure's on, and $241,000 is the price tag for those championship dreams. You might be thinking, that's a lot of pressure for one player, and you're right, but that's the game. The Fever are taking a calculated risk. They're saying, we believe in you, Kelsey. We think you're worth every penny of this Supermax deal. But let's get real for a second. Is money everything? For some players, maybe, but for others, there's more to consider. Team chemistry, championship potential, personal growth, these things matter too. And that's where things get really interesting. Because money isn't the only factor at play here. There's an X factor that could change everything. Caitlin Clark. Imagine you're Kelsey Mitchell. You've been the face of the franchise for years. Then suddenly, this rookie sensation comes in and starts breaking records left and right. How does that affect your decision? On one hand, playing alongside Clark could be a dream come true. Two superstars lighting up the scoreboard, leading the Fever to glory. But on the other hand, are you ready to share the spotlight? Are you willing to potentially take a back seat to the new kid on the block?
They've made Caitlin Clark more interesting. They've made Caitlin Clark the biggest star in American sports. They got this conversation wrong. The ladies, the active players in the WNBA, they haven't screwed up anything. Their little petty jealousy and sniping at Caitlin Clark is why 2 million people are tuning in to watch Caitlin Clark play basketball and to watch a bunch of other women blow layups every night.
These are the questions Mitchell's probably wrestling with right now, and $241,000 might not be enough to answer them. The Fever aren't just offering money, they're offering a vision of the future. A future where Mitchell and Clark form a dynamic duo that dominates the WNBA for years to come. But here's the thing, that future is far from guaranteed. What if Mitchell and Clark don't click on the court? What if their playing styles clash instead of complement each other? These are the risks the Fever are taking with this Supermax offer. And let's not forget about the rest of the league. You can bet other teams are watching this situation closely. If Mitchell decides to test the waters of free agency, there could be a bidding war, and suddenly that $241,000 might not look so super anymore. So what's Mitchell going to do? Stay with the Fever and potentially form a dream team with Clark, or take her talents elsewhere and forge her own path? The ball's in her court now, and the whole WNBA is waiting to see what she'll do next. While Mitchell weighs her options, a rookie sensation is stealing the spotlight. How does it feel to be a veteran star suddenly overshadowed by a newcomer who's breaking records left and right? That's exactly what's happening with Caitlin Clark on the Indiana Fever. Clark's rookie season was nothing short of spectacular. She didn't just play well, she rewrote the WNBA record books. Most assists by a rookie? Check. Highest scoring average for a first-year player? You bet. And let's not forget that unanimous Rookie of the Year title. Clark didn't just arrive in the WNBA, she exploded onto the scene. Now, imagine you're Kelsey Mitchell. You've been the face of the Fever for years. You've put in the work, you've earned your stripes. Then suddenly, this rookie comes in and starts grabbing all the headlines. How do you feel? It's gotta be a mix of emotions, right?
The WNBA was nothing before Caitlin Clark, and she has made it into something. I know how great she is because of Caitlin Clark. The Arike Amagawali, and I'm sorry if I messed up the name, the girl in Dallas. That girl's a baller. These guys are all working off of platforms that were already built long before they got there, and they have not elevated that platform.
But here's the thing, Clark's presence hasn't just affected Mitchell's visibility, it's changed her game too. Remember when Mitchell said people were noticing her more because of Clark? That's huge. Clark's star power is like a spotlight, and Mitchell's right there in the glow. On the court, these two are something else. Mitchell talked about their chemistry during the playoffs, saying there was no disconnect. That's impressive for a rookie and a veteran who've only played together for one season. They're not just coexisting, they're thriving. Think about it. Clark's got this insane court vision and passing ability. Mitchell's a scoring machine. Put them together and you've got a backcourt that can give any team nightmares. They're like peanut butter and jelly, but for basketball. But it's not all sunshine and rainbows. There's pressure here too. Clark's got all these expectations on her shoulders. She's supposed to be the future of the league, the next big thing. That's a lot for anyone to handle, let alone a rookie.
The Atlanta Dream set the record for the biggest crowd to watch a WNBA game in Georgia history.
Pretty exciting. One of the big reasons fans flock to State Farm Arena is, of course, the Caitlin Clark effect.
Caitlin Clark tonight. Oh, gotta watch number 22. I've been watching Caitlin for a couple of years, and since then I've dreamed about coming to a game.
She's with just brought a lot to the WNBA and also to the game itself and for women, so women's sports.
And Mitchell, she's got to prove she can adapt, that she can be part of this new era of Fever basketball. The Fever's got something special brewing. Clark and Mitchell could be the dream team that takes them to the top. They've got the skills, they've got the chemistry, and they've got the potential to be one of the best backcourts in WNBA history. But here's the catch. All of this only happens if Mitchell decides to stick around. That $241,000 Supermax deal is looking pretty good right now, isn't it? But it's not just about the money, it's about being part of something bigger, something special. The Fever are on fire, but can they keep the flame alive?
Charles Barkley talking about the Caitlin Clark phenomenon and the people he blames for blowing this whole Caitlin Clark deal.
People believe what we say on television. Just because people don't like you or your personality, they can't get on TV and slander you. It's just total bullshit. These ladies, and I'm a WNBA fan, they cannot have this Caitlin Clark thing up any worse if they try. What is going on here? And the thing I love about her, she never says a word. But these ladies, who I love and respect their game, they couldn't have this thing up.
They're leading the league in attendance, home and away. Is this the Clark effect, or are we witnessing the birth of a basketball phenomenon? One decision could change everything, but whose choice matters most? Let's talk about the Fever's incredible surge in popularity. They're not just winning games, they're winning hearts. The team is leading the WNBA in attendance, both at home and on the road. That's huge. It's like the whole league can't get enough of what's happening in Indiana. Now, you might be thinking, is this all because of Caitlin Clark? And yeah, she's a big part of it, but it's not just about one player. It's about the energy, the excitement, the feeling that something special is happening. The Fever aren't just a team anymore. They're an event. But here's where things get tricky. The future of this Fever phenomenon isn't set in stone. It all comes down to what Kelsey Mitchell decides to do. If she stays, we're looking at a potential dream team. Mitchell and Clark together, that's not just a backcourt, that's a force of nature. But what if Mitchell decides to leave? Then it's a whole different story. Suddenly it's Clark's team. All the pressure, all the expectations, they all fall on her shoulders. That's a lot for anyone to handle, let alone a rookie, no matter how talented. Think about the pressure these players are under. Mitchell's got to be thinking about her legacy. Does she want to be remembered as part of this potentially historic Fever team? Or does she want to carve out her own path somewhere else? And Clark, she's got the weight of all this hype on her shoulders. Everyone's expecting her to be the next big thing. That's not easy. The Fever are at a crossroads. One decision could change everything. But here's the real question. What's best for Mitchell and what's best for the team? Are those two things the same? Imagine you're in Mitchell's shoes. You've got this Supermax deal on the table. You've got a chance to play with one of the most exciting rookies in WNBA history. But you've also got other teams interested, maybe offering you a chance to be the undisputed star. What do you do?
If Caitlin Clark somehow wins the WNBA championship this year, she will have put together the greatest rookie season in the history of professional sport. Include Caitlin Clark in the conversation, as I like to do, but we're also going to bring the NFL, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Caitlin Clark, Deion Sanders, all in the same boat with historical perspective and knowledge. And more than anything, I'm gonna blast the media.
And then there's the Fever management. They've got to be sweating right now. They've built something special, but it could all fall apart if Mitchell walks. Do they have a backup plan, or are they putting all their eggs in the Mitchell Clark basket? This isn't just about basketball anymore. It's about building a brand, creating a legacy. The Fever have a chance to become the team everyone's talking about, the team everyone wants to see. But that only happens if they can keep this momentum going. Think about the fans. They're showing up in record numbers. They're excited. They're invested. What happens to that energy if Mitchell leaves? Can Clark carry that load on her own? Or will all this excitement fizzle out? The Fever's future isn't just about wins and losses. It's about creating something that lasts. They've got a chance to change the game, to build a team that people will remember for years to come. But it all hinges on what happens next. Alright, let's talk about the big decision. Kelsey Mitchell's got the ball, and the whole WNBA's holding its breath. Stay with the Fever and team up with Caitlin Clark, or take her talents elsewhere. It's not just about the money or the wins, it's about leaving a mark on the game. Think about it. Mitchell's been the face of the Fever for years. Now she's got this superstar rookie by her side. They could be the next great duo, rewriting WNBA history books. But what if Mitchell wants to shine on her own? That's a tough call, and let's not forget about the fans. They're showing up in record numbers to see this team. If Mitchell leaves, what happens to all that energy? Can Clark carry the load alone? Here's the real question. What would you do if you were Kelsey Mitchell? Stay and build something special, or seek new challenges elsewhere? It's not an easy choice, but whatever happens, the WNBA is about to change big time.